so where am I going? I'm heading to the place where I got my driver's license. You'll get to see where Modest did his motorcycle driver's license in Taiwan. This is my Taiwan license. You know, my Canada test is in Winnipeg, and I'm not going to go there for you. Yeah, so this is the Taiwanese motorcycle driving test course. And I've gone by here a few times recently, and not once have I seen someone practicing, which is odd. Before you can do the test here, you actually have to pay them to practice. It costs about $300 American, give or take. And then for that $300 American, you can come here every day for a month and practice. And a month is a long time. Yeah, see, this car is parked right on the course, so I'm pretty sure. Oh, and there's water on the course, and my bike's clean. Fuck this. I don't think I'm going to do the course. Well, I can do some of it, I guess. You guys want to see low-speed maneuvering. I can do if there's no water on those parts, I can do those parts. I'll go take a look. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, see, they got cars parked all over the fucking course. I don't know what's with that. Like, for example, here, this circle. There's some low-speed maneuvering. You got to go around this circle, and you see how it's really tight, and you can't touch the sides. And then there was another one here. That's like a long U-turn, and that's even tighter than this. I don't think they use this part anymore, though. Maybe it was too difficult. Yeah. I'm probably going to get some guys coming over and ask me what the hell I'm doing here, because, you know, you pretty much pay to be in here. But, I don't know. I did my test here, and they're all familiar with me. And I've already got my license, so it's no big deal. It's not like I'm stealing some practice time for my test or anything. Okay, let's try this. See, well, for low-speed maneuvering, for one thing, I just keep the clutch in pretty much, and then every once in a while I just let the clutch out to keep my speed up. There you go. And then once you do it one way, you have to do a U-turn and head back in the opposite way without hitting this car. Whoa! That was hard. Okay. And once you enter the opposite way, go around again. You can hit, my clutch is fully in. See, and then every once in a while I give it gas, and then I just let my clutch out a little bit to keep the bike rolling. But in general, I'm just rolling. You know, the guy asked for advice, but I don't know what advice to give. You know, I just practice. You know, my bike's not a light bike, but I can still do it. Well, it's not light compared to the 400s that you do the tests on, you know what I mean? Just go around at walking speed. I'm at walking speed right now, and my feet are both up, you know? Just want to see how slow I can go. Whoa. Every once in a while, I'm got to. Now this is about slower than a walking pace. One thing I read you can do for slow speed maneuvering is you can keep your RPMs up high and then just use the clutch, because if your RPMs are up high, it'll help the bike stand up straight. 你记得我吗？啊。我之前在这里。还有弄个照相机啊。我去路边，我会飙车，然后录得很清楚，看我的手，看我的速度表，看这个，还有声音很好。聪明，我是第一个人用这个方法。我会去三线，还有罗马都用这个路。我都没有看人在这里练习，现在。下雨，早上下雨都没有人过来啊。是晚上还有早一点，是不是？早上有一点下雨，没有人来。啊，对，今天。现在才好，天气这个水平才干，才干。你要先打开来了，看等一下有人会过来练车。好，我就是给人看我是在哪里考的，我可能帮你找客人。Okay, I just talked to the guy. He didn't seem to mind me using their course. roommate had trouble with this. Slow speed. This is when once you go up it, a counter over there starts. Oh. I'm trying to move my head around. You can't do this faster than a certain amount of seconds. You got to wait more than 10 seconds or something. Yeah, then I can go down. See, this light here counts to 9. Well, I guess it counts to 10. And you have to do this thing in more than 10 seconds. So you have to keep your speed down low, because if you just drive over it, you'll do it quicker than 10 seconds and the alarm will go off and you lose 32 points. I don't want to drive through this water, so I gotta go. Normally you drive around here. And then you drive along here, and then you get to here, and this part is actually, this is where everybody crashes. You come to a complete stop here, and they have a radar on here, and you got to get your speed above a certain amount, I forget, above 30, 40 kilometers an hour, and then you got to stop right on those white lines down there, so. And then you got to come to a complete stop in here, and and then it'll say your speed up here. I guess it's not turned on right now, but this is the bottom one's the radar, and it'll tell you how fast you did. But you got to get your speed above a certain amount, and then stop on here. And this is the fun part of the test, because I'll show you. People crash here all the time. You can actually see, like, see here? Here's a skid mark, like in the cement, and all of this is ripped up to shit from bikes crashing here. My roommate, well, I guess he won't mind, but yeah, my roommate, when he did his test, well, it wasn't during his test, he did his test really well, but while he was practicing one time, I guess he was just trying to show off, and he was trying to get to a really high speed, and then he had to, like, put the brakes on harder than he would have liked to, and he locked up the front, and the bike went down and crashed here. And then it was funny, because there was all this gravel here, and he picked up a broom. Is there a broom here still? There was a broom here, and he picked up a broom, and he started wiping off the dust, and then the broom was covered in fire. Oh, there's the broom! The broom was like this, and there was these ants that were using the broom as a path. So all these fire ants are going up the broom onto the wall like this. So he picks up he just crashed, he's bleeding, and for some reason he feels like doing some housekeeping at that time. So he picks up the broom, and he starts sweeping off the gravel and sand so the next person can use it. And then all of a sudden he realizes the broom is covered in like fire ants, and they're all going on his arm, and they all start biting him. Yeah, wasn't a lucky day. So yeah, so you do that little high-speed bit there that a lot of people crash on. And because the reason they crash is because they lock up the front tire, you know. And then you go around here. I think you have to stop on here. No, probably not, because there's no stop line. But here, I'm going to stop on a hill. This is difficult for a lot of people, you know. If you stop on a hill, it's just like at a car. You know, you gotta take your foot off, your hand off the brake, but not roll backwards. So you gotta like accelerate without like that. That's how you do it. You just keep the brake on, give it a bit of gas, and let the clutch out. And then as you let the clutch out, let the hand off the brake. That way you don't roll backwards. You can use yeah, these things are turned off. There's a sensor there. This should have came on. And then they have a traffic light here, which changes. And, railroad tracks. Stop at the railway tracks. And that's it. And then you go back to the beginning of the course, and you're finished. And you have to stop with only 1 foot down. That's part of the thing. Okay, so yeah, I didn't really give too many slow riding tips. I don't know. There's a slow riding tip that I read. It's if you keep your RPMs up higher, then the bike is less likely to fall over. So, but if your RPMs are higher, aren't you going to be riding fast? Well, not necessarily, because you can just have the clutch in to counter your speed, or just partially engaged. So one person says, you know, you can actually keep the RPM at a high like I am right now, and then just, whoa, this is difficult. And then, my RPMs are actually higher than my speed. And then you can just let the clutch out every once in a while. Maybe you don't want the RPMs too high, then you're driving around like that and you look like an idiot. but maybe bring the RPMs up to 4 or 5, even though you're only going to be using about 1 or 2 worth of power. So you can bring your RPMs up to about 4, and then just keep them there, and then let's use the clutch to move. You don't use the accelerator anymore. You just keep the accelerator at a set amount, and then just use the clutch. At the very least, you should just practice doing that in a parking lot just for yourself anyways, just so you can become really at one with your clutch. But supposedly by keeping your RPMs up higher, it helps the bike to stay upright because you have spinning parts in the engine that kind of give a, like a gyro effect or whatever, kind of like a spinning top. When the spinning top spins, it'll stay up, and then when it stops spinning, it falls down. Same kind of deal. So, yep. That's my slow riding tips advice. Just, the only thing you really need to know is you have to really understand your clutch. And one of the most important things to do is when you first start riding a bike is just ride and then stop, and then go and then stop, and then you should do that about 15-20 times before you even try getting into second gear. Because first gear is where people stall. First gear is where people have problems. I wonder if I could jump that thing. Think it's high enough to jump? What do you say? Let's try. Nobody seems to be too annoyed with me yet.